Hello everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program! And for once, we are not starting the episode in the Kerbal Space Program scene because this episode, unlike all previous 9 episodes before this, is being overdubbed, post-recorded, post-audio, edited, post-created. It is not being done live. Nothing in this video besides the video itself will be done live, and I know that sounds confusing because you're watching the video on YouTube, which contains the audio and the video that I've already recorded. But what happened was I recorded the video, I edited the video, and now I am speaking to you, and by the time you're watching this, it's all gonna be synced up and amazing. When I'm speaking this right now, it is quite synced up and amazing. And right here, we have our rescue mission to go save Tompley and Barfred Kerman from the Jebediah Memorial. So I constructed this awesome, pretty penny plane. I mean, I assume this thing in design would have quite a bit of lift on it because, I mean, my previous planes didn't have a whole ton of wings, so I was like, I'll just add a few wings this time. And, you know, I was a little bit scared when I was going down the runway because I was like, 100 meters per second, but no lift? Ooh, this is looking sketchy. And I begin to try to direct myself a little bit more towards on the runway, but as you can see, we flip out into a absolutely horrific explosion. And that was like 20,000 credits that just disappeared there. And amazingly, for the first time in pretty much Dodge Them All history, actually, probably not the first time, but maybe the second time, we are going to show you that same clip of the exploding plane in in slow motion. Yes, look at the explosions happening in slow motion. Oh, it's so amazing. I didn't even know explosions could look that cool. But yes, I made a few edits to the plane because I wasn't sure what had gone wrong, and I kind of liked the design, so I was just like, okay, we're gonna keep this one in here. And apparently, I also had a pilot in this one, although I completely forgot because this thing was driven by a probe driven, and so I had this mission would have failed anyway. But yes, this plane also explodes into some sort of fiery chaos, and I mean, it was definitely not what I was expecting. And I think for maybe the third time, actually, we are going to show this in slow motion. Yeah, look at that money. It's just, you could see the actual dollar bills, the Kerbal credits exploding on fire in front of your eyes as the government just watched them. 2 crashes in the same day. And now we're gonna watch it in reverse. Oh, look at that. And the plane went back to the runway on reverse, but it didn't actually do that. Unfortunately, I did lose quite a bit of money attempting this this rescue mission. So I was like, okay, these 2 designs have failed. I'm just gonna start over with a much simpler design. And my logic that went into this design was that I'd used too many wings, and I went in a bad ratio of lift to mass. And so basically what I did was I just added too many wings before, and the plane, like the lift, could not counteract how heavy that the wings actually were, and there was only 1 engine, so there wasn't a whole crap ton of speed. And then when I decided to move the plane around, or the plane just reached like a certain angle, it flipped out and it exploded. But this plane, very good at doing the early rolls. It was doing really good, and I did some G-force testing with it. Very responsive controls. Of course, I do have that SAS module and that advanced SAS module, and so it just kind of felt a whole lot more simple. You know, it wasn't as big. It looked reasonably okay, and I launched it without a pilot. I don't know if I actually showed it off, but inside the cargo bay, I know I showed off later in the video, there is a probe with a whole bunch of stuff, and there's the solar panels in there. Not in there, and on the side right there, which has been a feature lacking on all of my other plane designs, mainly because they've been manually piloted, and we've never really had any need for controls from robots. And you know, right now I'm kind of taking my time. I'm just playing around with it at 4 times time acceleration in game. This is actually 4 times time acceleration. So this is I believe what, 8 times? I'm not actually sure how that works. You know, what is it should be 16 times, right? Yeah, it's 4 times time acceleration. It's 16 times normal game speed. And it does look quite impressive. And we're coming up on the Jebediah Memorial. It's really great. This is actually the third plane I have sent out to it now. I didn't actually want to have to send that many out to it. I wanted to bring Tompley back to begin with, but he kind of got stranded there. And so I was just like, I'm going to send Barfred, and then Barfred's plane didn't work. And then one of my commenters last video, I don't have your name up right now because I'm not on Google Chrome. Even though I could bring that up, it would distract me from commentating, and I might say a few ums or likes. And I know it gets a little bit creepy when I start saying and like too much, mainly because I just don't feel like I'm professionally recording my videos anymore. And so, yes, you commenters said, hey, Steve, why don't you try retracting your landing gear with the Kerbals? And I asked them if you really could do that, and they said, oh, yeah, you could probably do that. And I actually tried it, and no, unfortunately, you cannot control landing gear from outside of the plane. And as you know, since there are no Kerbals within the other two planes, they do not have probe bodies, I cannot retract the gear to jump onto the wings, which is actually a really great idea that I can use in emergency situations. But I was pretty sure that I had fixed the ladder on this version of the plane. Now, the lights with this plane, I actually found kind of distracting on the desert biome because I could not see accurately where the ground was since it was so darn illuminated, and the shadow was actually what helped me way more than those lights were. Lights are probably good at night, but during the daytime landings, I don't think you really need lights all that much. It's easier to just use the shadow, because I don't know, shadows are just more responsive. They're more real. No, I mean they're all real. I mean, it's not like unreal numbers and stuff, but yes, here we are, coming up on the Jebediah Memorial, which I, for some reason, built, like, halfway across Kerbin for no apparent reason other than that's where I landed. Yeah, I just picked a spot and was like, plant the flag! And then I was like, land a whole bunch of Kerbals here and make them pay tribute to Jebediah. Maybe like a fun thing I need to do is I need to take all of the Kerbals out to the Jebediah Memorial before I can launch them into space, just for some insanely comical reason that I can't think of right now. Like they need to be like properly Kerbal baptized or something strange like that that really serves absolutely no purpose. But I guess it would be pretty interesting. It'd be a good challenge to do to see how many planes I could successfully take off and land at one time without having everything explode before me. And after a short drive across the surface of Kerbin, I suddenly began noticing the really strange lighting difference from when I'm looking at the Kerbals from when I'm not, and how everything's like kind of redded out. And I'm just like, oh, it's a little bit freaky. And as always, I have to get my really adorable looking pictures with everything going on. Got to be like, hey, Barfred, hey, Tompley, flags, and the Mark 1, the Mark 2. Let's all get a group picture together. Let's all take a selfie. So I was like, yeah, selfie time. Just taking time out of the episode to take pictures. I know, right? It's a great use of your guys' time when I take photos that I'll probably never use again. Actually, the thumbnail from this series is quite an interesting story because I believe that was from the Kerbal Space Program episode. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it was like a short I made that had some really awesome music in it. It was actually a project which I worked on for too long. Like, I spent a ton of time building that thing, and I have to say it was considerably disappointing when it was abandoned for reasons I don't really even... It was the worst mission I had ever attempted to complete. But right now, within Kerbal Space Program, Barfred, I believe this is Barfred, is attempting to climb up the ladder and experiencing the same issues as last time. I test out the landing gear thing right now, just so you know I didn't do it wrong. This is what I was doing. And I could not click on it, so I was like, let's just try to climb up here one or two more times and see if we can get in through this way. Otherwise, I'm going to have to try lowering the landing gear since I do have a probe within that plane. Probably one of the most useful features of it. Probe technology has really just taken over the space program. Soon we won't even need the Kerbals anymore. The Kerbals will just be the guys like laying around and kind of do it. Sorry if I'm yawning right now. It's only 8 o'clock at night, but it is on a Sunday, and I did wake up at like 6 a.m. this morning, so I have been up quite a while. I'm really excited to go back to school tomorrow. I get to see one of my awesome subscribers out in the audience. If he's watching this video, he probably knows who he is. Have a fun time tomorrow. Doing chemistry. APUS. That APUS. Man, it is just so much fun talking about Transcendentalism. Did I pronounce that right? I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. The Second Great Awakening. Reform in the early 19th century. I know those are really exciting and fun topics that generally you won't ever cover and need anywhere else in life. So Barford has successfully boarded the plane using the jump on the wing method, which is a method I may have to adopt with the Mark II cockpit. I actually think what I need to do is I need to bring the ladders out to a much shallower angle instead of having them be 90 degrees. Because if I bring them out at a shallower angle, they can just sort of climb onto it, and they shouldn't like pop off like they've been doing. For some reason, I actually grabbed Tompley onto that, but I'm like, "What are you doing, Tompley? What are you doing?" And I assume Barford just screamed out the window, "Yo, climb on the wing! What are you, an idiot? You tried to board other rescue planes!" And yeah, he just gets a little bit too excited, basically just hops over, almost breaks the plane, to be completely honest. I mean, just seriously, bro, Tompley, don't fall off. Just stop making a fool of yourself. I know it's been a while since you last moved. You've been standing there for like a good 2 days, but just, you know, now that they're both in a plane together, they're just like, whoa, this is way totally awesome. And, you know, this time there is like a super advanced computer system on board. Like, we got like HAL 9000 on this thing. Yep, right there is the computer core of the ship, which I put inside of a bay. It's basically just a Probodyne with SAS module and 4 batteries attached to the structural part, which is pretty amazing. And I did make a slight transition right there just because I spent the next few minutes taking pictures and just kind of looking around, you know, getting my sights, kind of just making nostalgic things that I'll come back to eventually. And so we turn off the brakes and we start rolling backwards, and Barford basically just not really maxes out the throttles, but he lowers down the throttle and he gets himself lined up with the edge of the hill. And before you know it, he basically just floors it, and he's like, you know, let's get the heck out of here. I don't want to spend any more time in this stupid desert worshipping Jebediah. I want to go back. I want to go fly a mission to the moon or Minmus or Duna or something. Tompley can come with me. We're going to have a blast. And he takes off and he basically just guns it right up into the air. And he's like, you know, we are Kerbals. We are going to have fun. And, you know, Kerbals just want to have fun and stuff like that. So, you know, he gets the plane all prepped. You know, he turns it to the side. He does all that stuff, and he sort of takes a look back at the Jebediah Memorial and what they're doing there. And he thinks of all the amazing things that they're going to have to do with it in the future, including possibly landing an asteroid on it. You know, just one of the many possibilities that we could potentially do sometime. You know, like land an asteroid on that. But soon enough, I get back out to going on a regular kind of increase, like a attitude increase towards the east, and we begin to fly back towards the main continent. And after a while, I actually will say I got a little bit scared that I wasn't flying in the right direction. So I took a look, open at the map, and I was just like, are we going towards where we're supposed to be going? I got getting a little bit concerned. But yeah, sure enough, you know, we got there, and we were coming up on the mountain range, and, you know, sometimes I'm just not sure if Barford or the AI module is really flying the plane. Tompley is just basically taking a nap, but Barford you know, he might be just drinking a little bit of alcohol, letting the AI fly the plane, and suddenly he gets this idea. He's like, you know, what if I just, you know, I take us for a ride down into the Kerbal mountain ranges. Ooh, that sounds like a fun, exciting adventure, you know? I mean, who wouldn't want to go fly through the most dangerous terrain known to Kerbals? Basically, this giant mountain range right next to the airbase, or space plane hangar, vehicle assembly building. The Kerbal Space Center! Basically, the only home area of the Kerbals. The entire Kerbal species lives on that space center. Not on the space center, in the space center. And they all just, I don't know, are clones or something. But yeah, we do get quite comfortably close. We hug a few of the mountains here. Sometimes I actually will admit that I fly out here in, like, my spare time. Like, if I'm just, like, it's like a Saturday evening or something. This is, like, a really weird thing. But on the off chance I am in the mood, I will essentially take a plane out. I will get a plane. I'll build kind of like a really nice plane, like a smooth one that doesn't fly too fast. Usually, it's a big one. It can be one of the pre-made ones. The pre-made ones work as well. But I will just come out to the mountain range here, and I will literally just fly around, and with my joystick as well. Because it is really peaceful using that joystick. But I haven't been using the joystick in the series since, I mean, obvious reasons. It's not just a space program, or like an air program. But, I mean, whoa, look at how close that Barford clipped that one. You know, Tompley is looking super excited right now. Barford's like, oh, yeah, man. And yeah, so, no, I don't use my joystick for this. I'm just using keyboard control. And we're flying through the hills and the valleys of the Kerbal Mountain range. And I will admit, it does look quite beautiful. It could use a little bit more scenery, like maybe like a river or something. If it had like a... Well, I mean, I'm resisting the urge to yawn. I'm consistently resisting the urge to yawn right now. Seriously, like, I have almost yawned like 8 times throughout this entire episode, but I've only yawned once, and I've, like, inaccurately yawned like 3 times. Twice. No, wait, what? I'm not really sure what I was saying. I actually forgot. Maybe a little bit of a sleep deprivation moment right there. You know, actually, it's not really 8 o'clock. It is like kind of 9 o'clock at night right now. So yeah, Tompley, Barford, and the AI module, mostly the AI module. The AI module knows what it's doing. Decide to turn back towards the Space Center after flying through the mountain range, and you know, they just want to get home. They're just like, you know, after all this time we've been out and we've been exploring Kerbin, so why not just take a few moments to get ourselves back home? And this for me was probably one of the hardest parts of the mission, was landing back on the original runway, because, you know, it's just like, after all this time, these Kerbals have been out forever, and they've ran so many missions, Barford especially, and Tompley has too. I think Tompley was the one who went out to Minmus? Nah, it couldn't be right. Was it Barford? I think Barford went out to Minmus. I know Jeb went to the moon. I actually have to check to see who went to Minmus. I know we're only 10 episodes in, but I'm already starting to forget stuff. So yes, Barford in the AI module approached the runway. Tompley looking rather excited about this whole predicament, knowing that he could explode at any time, but he does not yet know that Barford has witnessed 2 explosions of previous crafts, and Barford sets them down peacefully, and he gently, or more like heavily, taps or floors the brakes, and he's like, oh, let's get to a stop here, let's get to a stop, don't want to blow up, don't want to blow up. And then Tompley suddenly realizes that this runway looks a little bit different with skid marks from when he last saw it. And he gets around to asking Barford, hey Barford, man, what happened here? What are all these skid marks for? And Barford's all like, well, you know, we kind of, you know, actually, wait a second. My own thing is getting a little bit confused here. Barford was there too. How could he know? Maybe Mission Control told him. Maybe the AI told him. I don't know. But, you know, we just recovered the vessel, we got our pilots back, and I basically submitted you to the Twilight Zone. But do you hear that music? Do you hear that music? I know I hear that music, and I know what that music means because I didn't make it, but I use it all the time. That is all the time we're going to have for this episode, guys. So if you like this episode of Kerbal Space Program, don't forget to check out the other ones, see what we have done in the past, because this game is absolutely amazing. If you like this episode, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Otherwise, we will see you guys next time!